my vlog, The Chef Life. For all of you who are new to my vlog, please don't forget to look below and subscribe, because there is some really nice stuff on, from traveling and of course cooking. So today we do some cooking in my little kitchen here in Thailand, and what we do is a risotto. I love cooking risotto, so today I show you how to make a perfect saffron risotto. Of course, some might disagree with certain things I do, because there's 1,000 ways of doing a risotto. As long as the end result is perfect, I think nobody will ask you how you do it. So let me show you how it's done. Okay, start off we have to prepare our vegetables for the risotto. We have some onion, we have some garlic that we will use. This we will saute in a little bit olive oil. I have here my favorite olive oil, an organic one from Spain. It is absolutely amazing. Usually I use it for salads, but it's perfect for the risotto. And then of course the risotto rice. Really important to take a good quality one. This one is called Acquarello from Italy. You can buy it in beautiful little tins like this. It holds you nice and fresh, because when you open it, it's actually really closed. So this is a fantastic quality of risotto, something I use most of the time. And then of course we need some chicken stock that I have prepared here already. I always do a very light chicken stock. I don't want to have too heavy chicken stock. If I do the risotto completely vegetarian, then of course I will be using a vegetable stock and some wine. For me, it's very important. The wine you put in your food should be wine that you drink as well. So I think, well, let's start, you know. Have some wine to start before we start cooking. This is a lovely Chardonnay from South Tyrol, from Elena Walch. She makes beautiful wine. So I'm sure it will be fun. Love it. Now we can really start cooking. Of course, we got some of our basil here still, that is fresh out of the garden, all nice and organic. I like to put in at the end a little bit of sour cream, just to cut it a little bit and give a little bit of a sourness to it. And these two items I call love. It's butter and cheese. This is something, don't be stingy, because it will give you a lot of flavor. And as well, on the risotto we got some lovely mushrooms here. We got some white shimeji. Then we took some oyster mushrooms out of the mushroom hut that we have. Then let me see what else we found. We'll put some spring onions on top. Some lovely baby carrots. And I got some amazing Heirloom Tomatoes. So I think we'll have a nice risotto today. But let me start cooking, because it will take quite some time till we finish. Very important when you work in a kitchen, make sure your knives are sharp. I just tried to cut my onion, I'm not really happy, so we sharpen it a little bit. It's a bit show-off time as well, I guess. So be careful when you do that at home, but it really helps you to have a nice and sharp knife. Just making sure the wine is still nice. Okay, now let's start with the cooking. The first step, after you chopped your onions, and don't worry about the size of the onions and the garlic. If they are not super fine, this is perfectly fine. We'll take some of the olive oil. We heat the pan up medium hot. Don't go too hot, because you actually want to do the onions just nice and colorless, so that you don't have to, you don't want any color in the onions. And as you can see, I like my garlic a little bit sliced. It's just a bit different. Oh, it smells already good from the olive oil. So now we just need to wait till it gets a bit hotter. Okay, the pan is now already hot enough. You can hear how it starts sizzling. That's all you want actually. You don't want it to brown at all, because otherwise at the end in your risotto it will look with little brown spots, and that's not very nice. I do that for 2-3 minutes to make sure that onions are nice and glossy. And then I will add the risotto rice. Good, the onions, they are now nice and glossy. We fried them for about 3 minutes on low heat. It will actually release a lot of flavors from the onions. And now we're adding the risotto rice straight in here. And we fry everything together for another 2 minutes. Again, make sure there is no color. The risotto rice tends to burn quite quickly if it's too hot. Okay, the risotto is now nicely sauteed. We're adding a bit of wine. The wine will give not just flavor, but it will actually give nice acidity as well to the risotto. That's then as well the time when I'm adding the saffron, because I like the saffron to really cook for quite some time, because it will release all the flavors and color. You can see the rice is starting to get dry again. The wine is basically all gone. With the heat as well, that means there's no alcohol in it. It's all gone out. And now I'm giving the first time a little bit of the chicken stock. Voila. And very important as well that you give a little bit salt with it, because it's just a light chicken stock. I have here a nice sea salt. It's always good to use a nice sea salt. Don't use the iodized salt for cooking. It's great for making spaghetti water, but in here you really want to have just good products. You can see already it starts getting yellow a little bit. And now it will take us about 15 to 20 minutes till the risotto is cooked. Very important, don't boil it. Just have it simmer. You can see it's now starting to simmer nicely, and stir frequently. And the moment it starts getting a little bit dry again, you add a bit more liquid. So very important with the risotto, you don't add all the liquid at once. You add the liquid bit by bit. A rule of thumb when you make risotto, for 1 part of risotto rice you will use 3 parts of liquid. So if you use 100 gram risotto rice, you will need 300 milliliters of chicken or vegetable stock. So the moment the rice gets a little bit thicker again, like this, it dries out, you just add a bit more ordinary chicken stock or vegetable stock, and you let it simmer a bit longer. Stir frequently because there's starch in the rice, and the stirring that will give you a nice creaminess in the risotto at the end, because you get a lot of starch out of the rice. Then of course from time to time you need to taste. It's now about 8 minutes gone. The rice is still cooked, it's still quite hard, but the flavor is already beautiful. So we know now already the risotto will be nice. Now we just need to get it cooked to perfection. And then don't forget at the beginning, put a little bit of bay leaf in it as well. It will give a nice flavor. Don't give too much, but just a little bit, just to assist the flavors a bit. Okay, now I will show you quick how to do the vegetables, because we put them on top of the risotto then. So I don't want to cook them in the risotto. And as you can see, the carrots, the spring onions and the mushrooms, they actually all need different times in cooking. So I just want to show you how to cook them all together in a pan, that they all finish at the same time. Again, I will take a little bit of olive oil. And I put the carrots in first. And now we will actually season it, add a little bit water, and let them simmer in it to start getting soft. By the end of the cooking process, the whole water will be gone. So if you cook your carrots like this, you don't just actually save water, and the water boils fast, so you're actually saving a bit energy as well. But because you don't throw the water away, all the flavor, all the goodness stays in the carrots. Now the water is nearly gone, there's still a bit in. They're now in here since about 3-4 minutes. And now we're adding the next vegetables in. It's the spring onions. Now we cook them. And then at the end we will add the mushrooms as well. The spring onions, they need about 1 to 2 minutes. If you run out of water before, you can always add just a tiny little bit more to make sure that everything is nicely cooked. Okay, so it has cooked for another 2 minutes. Now we're adding some of the mushrooms. The oyster mushrooms. Add a little bit of the black pepper. Salt I have already added, but the pepper is still missing. And you can see at the end, the vegetables, they have a lovely shine from the olive oil. They're nicely glazed and they're just perfectly al dente. So now we can finish our risotto. Okay, I just add the tomatoes now at the very end. The vegetables are still hot. We just leave it a little bit. We don't want the tomatoes overcooked. I want to have the freshness of the tomato. We just want them to warm up. Good. Looking at the risotto, it's nearly done. Let me have one more taste. Oh yeah, it's good. Just a tiny bit more liquid. finish off our risotto with putting all the love in. Let me just take out here the 2 bay leaves, little pieces. Now the first thing we put in is a bit butter. A little bit of Parmesan. Like I said, don't be stingy. Oops. Now I was really not stingy. And last but not least, 1 blob of creme fraiche. And now we go off the heat. It doesn't have to cook anymore. And we mix everything under the risotto. Now there's different schools of making risotto. The one says that the risotto must be nice and thick. The other one, that's the one where I actually learned in my training, is that the risotto needs to be not liquid, but like a very thick soup. And that is exactly what we get here. So we have the ice cold butter in it, the Parmesan, and now we really have to mix it. That is to incorporate the butter into the risotto. Always be careful when you season your risotto, because don't forget, Parmesan is a little bit salty, it has a wonderful umami. So if your risotto is already very seasoned and then you add the Parmesan, it gets a little bit salty. I always use unsalted butter as well for cooking, because I don't want the food to get too salty. Voila! And we have a beautiful risotto. See, nice and creamy and ready to be plated. Good, so let's get ready for the plating. You see, it's beautiful. I chose a black plate because the yellow always comes out very nicely in it. You can see how it starts running away. Voila. We'll put the vegetables on it. Now the vegetables are just beautiful. They cooked al dente. We still have the green on the carrot, which is beautiful. You can see the tomatoes. They're hot, but they're not falling apart. We have the spring onions. You can as well use baby leeks. You can actually use any vegetables you want to use. We'll put the mushrooms nicely on. Always make sure that when you plate, it should look nice and pretty. The eye eats with as well. Then we're taking the basil that we have from the garden. We'll put that one on. And I have a little secret here. I made some Parmesan twirls, so we'll put a bit of that on. And at the very end, just give it a little sprinkle of Parmesan as well. And this is my favorite risotto, saffron risotto with freshly sauteed vegetables and a bit basil. I think we need to go and have a bite of it now. So it looks like I have cooked for a restaurant. It looks very pretty, I think. And yeah, I can't wait to actually taste it and see how it is. Oh yes. Of course I will say that because I cooked it, so I must like it. But it's absolutely tasty. Have a look on the vlog. I have added the recipe as well. If you have any questions, please feel free. Leave a comment, ask questions, more than happy to help. If you want me to cook something special for you, let me know. More than happy to cook anything for you. So Enjoy the risotto and cheers!